That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about His House, the directorial debut of British director Remi Weekes, which premieres on Netflix October 30th, 2020, and originally premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival.
This is another directorial debut that's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's cool. This film is about two Sudanese refugees who are intercepted / rescued while in transit to the UK. So they're in the ocean, they're in distress, they are rescued, brought back, and offered asylum. And what asylum looks like for them is basically like, we'll put you in this raggedy public housing.
Tenement housing, yeah.
Tenement housing, give you this little bit of money per week, and you can't do anything. You can't work, you can't go out, you just have to sit there. You make a new life for yourself. So already it feels miserable. But as the audience, we are told that they were traveling with their daughter, and the daughter perished in transit. So there's that grief associated with it. But the two main characters who are a couple, the man is named Bol, B-O-L, and the woman is named Rial, R-I-E-L.
R-I-A-L.
R-I-A-L. Bol is the word assimilation is used. He's assimilating more quickly. We see him going to like a local pub and sort of like chanting sports things and going to a store and dressing like the advertisement. But Rial, she seems sort of like pensive, much more, she seems like a strong woman who's pensive about this entire situation. And at a point she explains after some weird things are happening in the house, she explains to her man that they're being visited by a night witch.
An apeth.
An apeth. So there's this evil entity sort of clouding their existence. So weird things are happening in the house. Bol is like hearing things in the walls, so he's like tearing into the walls, trying to pull something out. He ultimately goes to the social worker, who
Played by Matt Smith.
Who is known for something else.
Doctor Who.
Yes,
for a decade.
That's what I'm told. So the social worker, who's interesting, kind of says like, basically, if you can't make this work, they're going to send you back, so you better figure it out. So he tries, but the film culminates with Rial explaining to him that what's happening is the young girl who we think is their daughter, who they brought with them, really wasn't their daughter. It was just some girl they grabbed, thinking that that would aid them in escaping their country.
Right, but the context of the situation is that people are shooting at them, and there's one bus, and they're told, if you're not a child, you can't get on, so he just grabs this little girl, and that is what provides them the salvation they need, but they don't realize that her mother is nearby, and it runs screaming after the bus.
So the spirit of this dead girl is what's haunting them.
Correct.
So tell how it ends.
Well, there's this apeth, this night witch that is there, is trying to proffer a deal that he's saying you can
give up your life.
Give up your life for hers. Just put a big cut in your skin, and I'll come like hollow out your body and give you this girl back. So it kind of plays on the duality of their guilt, their survivor guilt. And then Bol decides that he's gonna sacrifice himself, makes the cut, this demon crawls out of the wall and starts tearing into him, and Rial kills him, and then they are able to...
But it's important to know that the evil entity is really focusing on Bol. And Rial has already left, because she was getting sick of Bol's shit and leaves the house.
He locks her in the house.
Yeah, he traps her because he's kind of going crazy. But she returns.
She returns in a way that's really interesting, because Weekes uses that as a segue for... She crawls out of the house and basically into her memory. And that's where we get the exposition that tells us exactly what happened for them to get where they are.
So when she returns, she attacks the witch, kills it, and that allows them to be free of this, like,
this
the
entity.
guilt they feel and also the guilt they're haunted by.
Because it's also allowing other spirits in the house, is what I'm made to understand. So there's some really creepy sequences, all the holes in the walls, there's lots of eyes of little dead children and corpses that are haunting them.
So it ends with them being visited by the social workers to see if they've straightened up their act, and like the holes in the walls are patched up. They seem more stable, and we presume that they go on and make a nice life in London. The end. It was very effective.
What did I say? Genre trauma genre.
Genre trauma. Yeah, I really like the performances from the three leads, the two Sudanese refugees and the social worker.
Wunmi Mosaku is Rial and Sope Dirisu is Bol.
The actor playing Rial had such a presence, but like a very strong. I'm trying to think of a better word than strong, but she just felt so like soothing, despite like everything she's gone through.
Well, very resilient.
Like having to escape her country in fear of being killed, losing. Well, at a point we think she's lost her child. Her man is going crazy, and she's just solid.
Yeah, she's the most resilient character by far. Yeah. She also is the one that suffers more microaggressions than he does, because her little makeshift map, she tries to go to the clinic one day, and she kind of avoids talking to all the white people she sees as she's kind of gets lost. And then she approaches these three young black men who belittle her, make fun of her appearance and her accent.
It's also clear she doesn't want to assimilate. Like, her fashion just doesn't change. There's a scene where she prepares dinner for Bol, and she's prepared in sort of a traditional way, eating it without utensils. And Bol hands her utensils, saying like, "Let's do this way." And she's like, "No, I can taste the metal in my mouth." I was really impressed by her performance, her characterization. Bol does a really good job. The actor playing Bol does a really good job.
And she does make it to that clinic, and this white woman who's clearly very uncomfortable with her.
Very uncomfortable, trying to connect with her.
But and it is used wisely in a way for us to learn more about her.
Yeah.
And that is, I thought, a very profound moment where she relates this. She's from the South Sudan, and the two warring tribes, and she has the marks of both tribes on her.
Yeah, the doctor's like commenting on her scars, like her tribal scars, and then Rial explains like...
She says, I survived by belonging nowhere.
Which is interesting or powerful, because the doctor's just commenting like, "Oh, those are pretty." Like, thanks, but this is what they really mean.
But also really explains her inability or her resistance to assimilating, because that is how she survived. That's her defense mechanism, by not belonging, not drinking the Kool-Aid.
I thought the best scene was when Bol visits the social worker after he's experienced like these weird things in the house, and he's convinced there are things in the walls, and he goes to ask for a new place to live. And the other people working in the office are basically saying like, "You should be so lucky. The place you're living is bigger than the house I live in." So a lot of hostility towards him, and he's just sitting there like, the social worker comments that he doesn't look good, he smells bad. So clearly he's in distress, like trying to ask. And the way he kind of smiles like he's in panic. And I thought that was really, really well done. And a very tense, anxiety-inducing scene.
Well, and just from the get-go, when they are told that they will be granted asylum and all the ground rules, it's so cold and... I think a tangential exercise, a thing that happens in this film is just, it's so cold. There's no mental health assessment. The trauma that, they have a lot of extra trauma actually on top of surviving, getting there, but just nobody's there asking any kind of questions.
Yeah, I mean, really, even without the supernatural component, the idea of being a refugee, seeking asylum in a country where the people don't even want you.
Well, and nobody. And
there's all this hostility towards you. It's like, that already is horrifying. Which makes it all the more sad that like immigration in this country is so effed up. But
right. Well,
anyway.
But I think it's across the board. It reminded me of Dheepan a little bit, the Jacques Audiard film where the Sri Lankans form a makeshift family. They're not related, but they have to pretend to be to live in France.
Okay.
I also really like the scene where we're in Rial's memory, and she gets emotional talking to all her friends, and we come to realize that she survived by hiding, and they were all viciously slaughtered. And I've seen a lot of movies from Africa that are, show these languid, happy people that are suddenly, their lives eradicated. Our Lady of the Nile I saw recently, which it felt a little bit like that.
Well, it's on Netflix, so I would recommend watching it. It's easy to stream. What would you give this film?
Also, we talked about the look of it. Jo Willems is the DP who shot the Hunger Games. Well, the Hunger Games film that Francis Lawrence directed, so not the first one. I really liked the look of it. It does some really cool things with. There's one scene where Bull is eating at the table, and as the camera backs up, the table is a crumbling facade in the middle of this ocean, and he's accosted by zombies.
Yeah, Bull has a lot of flashbacks or nightmares about like him traveling across the ocean that I thought were really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked it. And then how the posters, it ends up being a shot at the end of the film, but the poster art for the film, which I really liked. I would give it 3.5 out of 5.
I would give it 3.5 out of 5 as well. Thank you.
Thank you.